I'm not ashamed.
Are there going to be any signs of Jesus' second coming? This is the question that we seek to answer today as we continue our verse by verse study of the book of Matthew on walking through the Bible.
His word, the glory of his cross.
If you have a Bible with you, turn to Matthew chapter 24. We're going to be reading from verses 36 to 44. If you don't have a Bible, don't worry. Just follow along with us on the screen. The version that we'll be reading from is the New King James Version. So, Matthew chapter 24, beginning at verse 36. But of that day and hour knows no one, not even the angels of heaven, but my Father only. But as the days of Noah were, so also will the coming of the Son of Man be. For as in the days before the flood, they were eating and drinking, marrying and giving in marriage, until the day that Noah entered the ark, and did not know until the flood came and took them all away, so also will the coming of the Son of Man be. There will be two men in the field, one will be taken and the other left. Two women will be grinding at the mill, one will be taken and the other left. Watch therefore, for you do not know what hour your Lord is coming. But know this, that if the master of the house had known what hour the thief would come, he would have watched and not allowed his house to be broken into. Therefore, you also be ready, for the Son of Man is coming at an hour you do not expect. In this chapter, Jesus has been answering what the disciples thought was one question. When would the temple in Jerusalem be destroyed? And when would Jesus come again, bringing with him the end of the world? Though the disciples thought that this would be one question, Jesus teaches us that it is in fact two questions. When would the temple in Jerusalem be destroyed? And when would he come again? Knowing that this is two separate events is crucial if we're going to avoid teaching false doctrines from this passage. This is the 5th episode of this chapter, so if you haven't yet listened to the other 4, we encourage you to do so now by going to eastendchurch.org and looking under the Media and W.T.T.B English podcast tabs. If you wish to submit any comments or questions, we kindly ask that you listen to these episodes before providing a comment. They are lessons 117 to 122 of this series. Up until this point, Jesus has been dealing with an event that those who heeded his words would recognize because there would be signs. This event would be the destruction of the temple. The beginning of the chapter dealt with things that wouldn't be signs of the destruction of the temple, such as wars and rumors of wars. The sign that the destruction of the temple was very close, the abomination of desolation would be standing in the holy place. That abomination representing the Roman armies surrounding Jerusalem. When they saw those signs, they were to immediately run. If they didn't, they would be killed. The generation that Jesus was speaking to would live to see those signs, which is exactly what happened in 70 AD when the Jerusalem temple and Jerusalem itself was destroyed by the Roman armies. In verse 36 now, we have a transition from an event that would be preceded by signs to an event that would have no advance warning. From here on out and on through chapter 25, Jesus deals with the second part of the disciples' question, his second coming in the end of the world. Jesus said that nobody knows the day or the hour, not even the angels of heaven, but the Father only. This statement by Jesus presents an interesting question. Jesus is God, and God is all-knowing. So how is there something that Jesus does not know? Far be it from me to boldly state that I know all the ins and outs of this, but two things are quite clear to me. One, there is much that we do not know about the relationship between God the Father and God the Son, Jesus. And two, our standard definition of what it means to be all-knowing is somewhat simplistic. Being all-knowing simply means knowing all that can be known. Mankind is not all-knowing. There is plenty that we do not know. God is all-knowing, and Jesus is God, yet it appears that because God the Father is supreme, and 1 Corinthians 11:3 would tell us this, that there is some things that he chooses not to reveal even to the Son. This doesn't make Jesus any less God. However, it does show us that the full picture of God is too great for our feeble minds to comprehend. We can, though, accept on faith what Jesus said here is true, even if we don't fully understand how and why. Jesus compares his second coming to the days of Noah. If you recall back to our study of Genesis 6, the days of Noah were evil, and the Lord decided to destroy this world with a flood. Noah and his family were the only ones saved in the ark. However, up until the flood came, life went on as normal. People ate and drank, they got married. Everything went on as normal until the flood came. That will be like Jesus' second coming. It will be that quick and that unexpected. What will happen when he comes again? 2 will be in the field, 1 will be taken, the other left. 2 will be grinding at the mill, 1 will be taken and the other left. From this passage, some people conclude that this is the rapture, but that's not what is being talked about at all. Let me ask you, was it the righteous one or the wicked one who was taken? Believers in the rapture say it was the righteous, but in fact, Jesus doesn't say. What will happen to the one left behind? Again, the passage doesn't say. As we will see in chapter 25, what Jesus is describing here is the separation of the righteous from the wicked at his second coming. One group will be taken away from the other, leaving the righteous with the righteous and the wicked with the wicked, just like in the parable of the tares found in Matthew 13, lessons 66 and 68 of the series. What will happen to both groups will be left until the end of chapter 25, with Jesus' main point to the disciples here to be ready, for Jesus will come at an hour that they do not expect. We'll conclude the chapter, the Lord willing, in the next episode. With that, our time is up for today. The Lord willing, we hope you'll join us for tomorrow's discussion of Matthew 24, verses 45 to 51, as we continue our walk through the Bible, one verse at a time.
I'm not ashamed.
Thank you for watching today's episode. We hope that you found it edifying and ask that you not only subscribe to our channel and podcast, but that you like and share this episode among your friends, so that the saving gospel of Jesus Christ can go out to the whole world.
Of his cross.